Hello guys. I hope I'm very audible to you guys, but welcome to a very exciting stream that we have for you today. Today we are going to watch some of the exciting teams from the Wild Rift India scene play some exhibition matches against each other. And there's going to be a very exciting announcement for you guys at the end of the stream. So make sure aap kahin jayega nahi. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, so let me just start out by saying thank you so much for everyone who's tuning in right now. You can see already, in spite of the fact that server nahi hai and things like that, in spite of the fact that the server is not here, we still have more than 30-40 players interested in Wild Rift, right? So before we get started with the exhibition matches and we introduce the teams and everything else, let me just quickly tell you about what exactly is it that LevelUp, me and the community are trying to do. Now, obviously, we know that server nahi aaya and at this point, we don't know kab aayega. And, people have moved on. And personally, even for me, right, I have told people the same thing. Yeah, agar, if it's not coming, you do what you feel like. You want to play a PU, you want to play COT, you want to play whatever you feel like, right? So, but I'm a very die-hard Wild Rift fan. And what I learned in the community is like, मेरे से भी काफी लोग हैं that regardless of whether the server is coming or not, some people still like playing Wild Rift. And when I did a poll on our Wild Rift India Discord recently, I saw that मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ. There's more than 130 people who still would like to be a part of the community and they still would like to be a part of tournaments and events of Wild Rift in India, regardless of whatever is happening outside. So this endeavor, right, ये जो exhibition match हो रहा है and everything else that we'll be doing for you as a community is just for these few people, who still want something exciting. And I realized in my endeavor, in my search of finding and doing things, it's not me alone, it's not you 100 guys, it's like a lot of great people, really smart people who also want to help out, right? So this is why I have to give my first thanks to LevelUp Gaming and especially to Easy for Baba, who is helping us with the broadcast part and a lot of other things, exciting things we'll talk about soon. So, Baba's going to be there with us as well. We have a great pool of talented casters from Stark, who's standing right next to me. Stark, I will introduce him very shortly. But Stark, Metagod, Gaming with Nix, Chief, Void. There are a lot of amazing casters who are ready to help us out. We have PrimeZord and a very talented staff of moderators who will help us out with adminning and a lot more other things, right? So, ये छोटे से family में भी there is a lot of people would definitely like to do a lot of cool things for the community, and this is exactly our endeavor, right? यहाँ ये करने से we are not here to make a statement, right? Let's get this clear. ये दिखा के मेरे को ड्रैगल्स को ट्वीट नहीं करना है या किस करे बाय सर्वर, नो, लाइक दैट अभी एट दिस पॉइंट हमने छोड़ दिया भगवान पे, व्हाटएवर यू नो कॉल इट, लाइक डेस्टिनी पे छोड़ दिया कि जो होगा सो होगा. But what we can do is with the community that we have and जो teams है इतने interested, उन लोग के लिए we can continue to bring events, and even not just for teams, अगर आप player भी हो तो we have, as an individual player also, we have a lot of exciting things for you, right? So काफी कुछ है, right? And today's stream is all about showcasing the current talent that we have. Now obviously bade players to ja chuke hain hamare, but that doesn't mean that new players have not popped up, right? And before I even get to that, let me then introduce my co-caster for this game today. It's going to be Stark. And Stark, how with how the scene is right now, there still are these 5 or 8 teams that still grind a lot, right? And they're still a part of the community, and we are seeing of these teams in front of us right now. So what are your thoughts on the whole scene and the fact that you're excited to watch some of these new talents play?
Hi guys, thanks for giving me this opportunity to cast with you. And I feel scene is thoda sa dead, but as we are doing resurgence, we see a lot of teams who are still left in the scene, right? They have been struggling to thick and thin, and these are they're not the T2, T1 teams over there and who immediately jump ship to go to Pokemon Unite when the opportunity wasn't there. They're still sticking through with Wild Rift. I mean, those players are also playing, but they're not playing dedicating, grinding, rank and stuff. So I think it's they're still keeping the hope alive. They're keeping the flame burning of Wild Rift India basically, and we're going to capitalize on that in this tournament, and hopefully they do as well. Very excited to see these teams. A lot of new players who have been playing. Many of these players are Indian server players, solo queue players. I love Indian solo queue. It's so coin flip. I lost 10 games yesterday and I'm still saying that. So yeah, I love this. I'm going to be excited to see all these players. Many of these guys I've seen in the server while playing ranked.
Yep. So let's just get started, guys. Let's move on to the draft screen. Let's talk about game one. Game one is going to be between, you guys know TDT for a really long time. They've been one of the longest, like one of the oldest teams in the Wild Rift India circuit for I think as long as May or Feb they've been around. And we also have DR Runic, right? So our first match of the day is going to be between DR Runic and TDT. On the right side, I think is TDT, and on the left side we have DR Runic. So it's going to be very exciting to see as we get to it, and I'm going to just quickly get the match started.
Right.
So basically, let's just jump quickly into the action, guys, because I know aate achhi hoti hai, but let's get into some kick-ass Wild Rift quality streams. And I have to give credit to Level Up again. You guys are watching this stream in crisp 60 FPS quality right now. It goes up to 2K. तो किसके पास अगर बड़ा टीवी है घर पे 2K वाला या 2K का मॉनिटर है तो तुम फुल क्वालिटी में देख सकते हो. दिस इज अ फीचर ओनली गिवन टू यू बाय लेवल अप बाबा फ्रॉम इंडिया. आई डोंट इवन थिंक देयर इज एनी अदर स्ट्रीम आउट देयर इन द वर्ल्ड दैट डज 2K at this point. So just enjoy and yeah, let's get started with game one right here. You can see in the draft phase, by the way, set is open, right, Stock? So edit because the exhibition series, right? So are you expecting set to be picked? Because I have only played 2 games of set, and I know for a fact that this is definitely a pick that we should pick at least. Yeah.
So the technical term for set is a stat check champion, right? So the stronger the enemy stats get, the stronger he gets as well, because damage लेता है वापस देता है. He's basically over glorified Thornmill in my opinion. But he the entire champion is based on. I love the champion. As soon as the champion released, they had like 3 builds coming out from Darkbreaker: the crit build, the mathematically correct set build, and the normal bruiser wala build. And I don't see, like, it's perma banned in Indian server, so I don't think many of these players have gotten a chance to play it. But on the off chance they did, I'm really hoping that the Baron Leaders played or the Junglers played, because it has been good in both these rules.
Absolutely. Just for the clarity, guys, the team on the left is DR Runic. The team on the right side is TDT. Right now, TDT has changed a lot of players since inception, but I do remember that Face Cold. I think he still plays, and Steel is their mid laner at this point. And yeah, look at the bans coming out right now. Lee Sin, Yasuo, Rengar, Cat Goes Meow. I'm pretty sure that's a ban against him right now. He loves playing Rengar. On the other side, I like the bans from TDT as well, right? Like, take away these annoying mid laners that you have with Ziggs and Galio. Galio, as you guys know, I had a 21 game win streak with him on rank, so he's going to be like a very good strong pick. And Ziggs in general does very well against most comps. So it's a smart ban out. Basically, they want to focus the enemy mid laner for DR Runic. And the last one coming out is going to be the Akali right here. So we have a lot of interesting bans, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this ends up playing out right here. So what do you think is the pick going to be? Because Summoners 05, right? We know this guy since a while. He is known as a tank support player. He loves playing the Leona and the Alistar that he's very well known for. And as you can see right now, Alistar is being picked. But you know what? There is a counter to Alistar right now, Stark, and it's called Morgana, and that has not been picked.
Yep. So a lot of new champions have been in since we played last competitive. And with the presence of Irelia, Morgana, Jace, who's really broken, they've not banned Jace, and it's not picked also for some reason. Very difficult to see this as a Baron lane player. I think you must be also feeling this as well. But Morgana counters Alistar.
Morgana absolutely completely counters Alistar. Alistar bolte hai, bro, I'm gonna headbutt pulverize you, and the Morgana be like, haha, in your face at this point, right? So I think, like, if you want to play tank supports, and by the way, guys, अगर आप Wild Rift ने काफी टाइम से नहीं खेला, you wanna play it now, remember, Morgana cucks all engaged champions, right? So अगर आपको Leona खेलना है या Alistar खेलना है or any other, like अगर Akan खेलना है, you need to make sure that Morgana is banned out. Now, interestingly enough, that Morgana is not going support. That is a mid lane Morgana with a Leona support. So you have like a very interesting composition where the Morgana is in the mid lane. And talk to me a bit more about this mid lane pickup, from the side of TDT right here, Stark, because it's against an Annie. And how strong do you think Morgana is as a mid laner in the current meta?
Not very good in my opinion. I've the reason why I lost 10 games is I think 4 or 5 of them are Morgana mids. Like, she's useful, but she doesn't put out the damage that you need to do as a mage. As a control mage, she doesn't have that much wave chase. She has a W to clear the minions, but then you can't roam, right? And your shield is wasted on other mages because it is going to poke you again and again. So I think she might, if Annie's stun is also very point and click heavy. Like, it's hard to block it. So I think she's going to have a hard time against Annie and Pantheon, who will jump on her before she can cast her third skill. And she has to rely on the others to go in and tank for her. So not very good in against Annie, but Annie also is not very meta right now.
Yeah, these are very interesting pickups, right? You don't really expect to see Annie and Morgana as a pickup. So if anyone here is watching competitive Valorant, you will know that these are not your primary pickups in the mid lane. But hey, you know what? In India, we create our own meta, right? So fuck that. And we actually have a Pantheon, which could potentially be going jungle or top, not sure yet. But on the red side, right, you can see the Varus pickup as well. And Stark, the Darius also gets picked up solo. It's not a bad pickup at all. Or by the way, Cold is not the same Cold from TDT who's the top lane. He's a support main right now. I've just been clarified of that. But if you look at the right side composition, right, double AD carry, one tank, one bruiser-ish sort of a guy, and one Morgana to help the peel. So it's looking like a pretty strong composition, all things considered. And what are your thoughts on the blue side composition? Because now they have picked up Pantheon top, which is very good in lane against the Darius, right? A Pantheon can exert a lot of pressure. But as we go into the mid game and the late game, that's where Darius starts shining even more. That's where Darius will outscale the Pantheon just because the Pantheon will fall off. He's an early game champion. And on the blue side, they do have the Alistair and the J4. They also have two primary tanks who can, be the frontline for the composition. But again, if you look at the early game prowess, I feel I have to give it to the blue side. But if you look at late game, it does look like the red side, aka TDT, have the advantage going for themselves.
It's Morgana jungle as well. You see, there's this thread on Reddit. There was a post on Reddit saying that Morgana clears 5 camps by 119. That to solo without a leash. So let's see whether he has played Morgana jungle enough to do that 5 clear camp before the scuttle. It's pretty good, but you don't have much ganking potential unless you land your Q, which is pretty hard in the Indian scene because that much amount of skill targeting is not there. But against Jarvan, I don't think Morgana is pretty good. What do you feel?
I feel like Jarvan's a great pickup to the Morgana at this point, but it's a Morgana jungle. So again, I kept thinking a Morgana support jayega, a Morgana mid jayega, and ends up going jungle. And I feel you're right. In the early game, obviously the Jarvan will have more prowess, but looking at the Morgana clear speed and the fact that her ganking potential is very good too. If she's able to land her stun at the right time, then you are looking at a lot of difference being made in this game as well. But we have to look at early game, right? Level 1 does matter. You can gank with the Morgana, but Morgana will never start her Dark Binding as a jungle pickup. She will want to start her second ability, the Tormented Pool. But let's see if they will do that. But on the other side, Runic are ready with 5 and the ward by Steel has been put. That's a very cheeky, a very sneaky ward, right? That ends up saving his life for the good. So, we were almost checked for an exciting level 1, but that ward from Steel saves his life and saves his team from getting first blood.
I stood on the ward for a couple seconds, not understanding what to. But yeah, early wards, I usually used to die when I put that ward, but he escaped somehow. But enough about that. Level 1 shenanigans, nothing happens. Both are starting both are starting blue for some reason.
Yeah, Morgana starting blue makes a lot of sense because Morgana needs mana to get her clear going. Now, there's a very cool trick. If you show the Morgana right now on screen, you can see that Morgana can do 2 camps at the same time. I want to see if Cold is doing that. I think he has done that. So what this enables, this does enable him to clear very fast. So Morgana, if she places her pool right in between the blue and the Grom, she can actually hit both with her pool right now. She can do the same thing with the Raptors and the red as well. Actually, let's keep an eye out and see what happens. But meanwhile, let's take an eye on the top lane so far because Pantheon Darius ki jo baat kare, right? The Pantheon is a strong pickup in the early game. He should have priority. He can create priority for his jungler to get the top scuttle as well. But it does look like Jarvan deciding to go bot lane. What do you expect to see in the early game start? Because at this point, are we just waiting for our level 5? Do you see any sort of gangs happening in the early game, etc.?
I think Pantheon should fight level 3. He's one of the most strongest level 3 champs in mid lane. I think Corki should have prio, and bot lane it is very coin flip, so shouldn't happen much. But definitely need to see action in the top side.
Yeah, and you can see at this point, right, bot lane, they will see them through a bot right here. So Kaisa knows, hey, you know what, the Jarvan's bot side here. For some reason, Pantheon did have priority, but it did not matter because Morgana was like anyways pushing. And you can see Pantheon trying to steal the buff, but I don't say steal the cam, decides not to. Ends up smiting it just to secure at this point. So Cat goes Meow, gets his level 4 as well. So far, the junglers are just mirroring each other at this point. The Darius is a happy camper because in the early game, the Darius can get to level 5. Ek bar Darius level 5 pahunch jata hai. His ultimate versus Pantheon ultimate in a team fight, obviously, in a 1v1 will be a lot more valuable, right? In the mid and also, you can see Steel is putting a lot of pressure on Ignite right now. The Annie is basically getting poked out quite heavily, right? So that's a very good sign for DT right here in the mid lane. Stark, all things considered, but you may see a gank happening in the top side, decides not to. So yeah, level 5 both junglers have reached Stark at this point, but it doesn't look like any other ganks might be coming to us anytime soon.
Yep. What do you feel about the Alistair's item? He's going for Barmy Cinder as a support champion instead of going Zeke's, the Deadman split, which is usually preferred, or even Boats for that extent.
Yeah, I feel like Bami Sender at this point is quite an interesting pickup. And it is his own personal choice. He wants to just be another tank that his team needs. But again, I feel like if he's the one purely going tank, then you can actually have Jarvan also go with a bit of damage. And you can see right here that there is a bit of poke being landed. Almost gets his 5 stacks and gets the first blood for himself. Beautifully played right here. And this is what we said, right? Level 5 pay. When you fight the 1v1, Darius has his ultimate, Pantheon does not have his ultimate, and the biggest difference of the game gets made there. Guys, we have a small technical issue. Don't worry, we'll get that fixed very, very soon. But on the other side, Darius getting first blood for his team is definitely a side that we have to see right here. And again, with Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, this is looking like a good sign for TDT stuff.
Yeah, definitely, and he's going for the cleaver route also. Against a team with Alistair, Jarvan, and Pantheon, which is very good because he gets the armor penetration for both him and the double ADCs, which are going to